Hey, welcome everybody back to Even Under. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the slide that I made for my Rivian R1T. I'll try to hit up certain key features as far as why I chose certain materials, certain designs, features, and what my future plans are. So let's have at it. So the best place to start out with is the mounting hardware. I picked up some metal aluminum at my local metal store. I managed to find some angle pieces, some C-channels, and my idea is to combine them together to make two separate brackets. With those brackets, I should be able to mount the slides. Now the slides I picked up on Amazon. They measure 60 inches, which is exactly what I need to get the full length pulled out from the gear tunnel. They're rated for 500 pounds at vertical. On horizontal, they won't be as strong. But that's okay. I'm gonna end up using the gear tunnel door to support the weight. And I will end up using legs to help support it at the very end. Now, here's my plan on how I plan on mounting this. In the Rivian gear tunnel, if you remove the bottom cover, snaps off pretty easy, as you can see here. There are two mounting holes that Rivian uses for their slide. These are M6 thread, I believe. In addition, there are two side mounting locations here. But I will not be using those because I don't believe I will need those. Now the slides run the full length all the way from one end to the other end. That'll allow me to put the slide on both ends to help support it. Now all that's left is to combine the material and build that slide. Here's an example of the aluminum pieces that I purchased and how I configure them for the mount bracket. As you can see here, I arranged it in a way where I'll have support on both ends and a shelf for the slide rails. To keep everything all together, I will place rivets throughout the rails. This will help support it and combine everything to make one good solid piece. Now that I figured out how I want to create the mount, now it's time for the slide. My go-to place is McMaster-Carr. They have a huge assortment of extruded aluminum. Now I've decided to go with the 2-slot design, probably one on each side. As you can see, they have a bunch of different types of extruded aluminum. But I'm going to stay with the traditional as it will serve me best. This will allow me to add T-slot connections, bolts, clamps, or even mount the kitchen to it. And to continue on with this slide, I chose this C-channel at 5 inches wide. All I have to do is select one long enough where I can just trim it down to the length I need it. The extruded aluminum with the T-slots made it very easy for me to bolt everything together. Now the slide is approximately 13 inches wide. Once I got it installed, I wasn't too happy with how the face looked, so I decided to get an aluminum plate and bolt it to the front of the extruded aluminum. Then I ventured onto Amazon, and I thought to myself, I could probably put a handle in here. A good handle that I thought I could use is a Paracord handle. Here's one that I found that's used for the oh shit handles when off-roading. So here's the slide in its full glory.
I'm pretty impressed with it, if you do say so myself. It actually pulls out pretty far, pretty full length. Right now, it's supported by the weight in the gear tunnel door, which by specifications should hold about 200 pounds. That's why I'm able to sit on it. But future plans, I'm gonna add a stand here that's adjustable, just to give that extra support. Took a look around. So the main reason why I wanted to slide is because for two things. So the main reason why I wanted to slide is so I'm able to reach into the tunnel for hard to reach items. Also, with using the aluminum extrusions, I can bolt things to it, whether it's anchor points, just like I have back here, or camp kitchen. So the main features about this slide so far that I've added, it's a pull handle. This helps so I can help push it back into the vehicle and lift it up so it doesn't drag on the door and scrape it. Dual heavy-duty locks. Now remember, as I discussed before, these rails are on their sides, not very strong. They're not really intended or designed to be used that way. They're designed to be in a vertical situation. That's the strongest point they have. These slides were actually rated for 500 pounds in a vertical situation. But that would drastically change my design and use, as it would take up a lot of room in there, and then the kitchen itself would be smaller. So having it on its side and having it rest on the door, along with the legs, should give me plenty of room. Now let's talk about how I got this installed in here. So there's all the hardware that you saw earlier. It reaches all the way to the other side. See if I can close it here. Let's see how I open it. Now, as stated before, there's a cover that sits here that gets removed. There's two mounting holes that the Rivian uses, and that's the point that I used myself. There's also a couple of different mounting points on the sides here that I didn't utilize. So as you can see, of those aluminum pieces that I had, kind of combined them together to add one good mounting point for these holes here, and then give me a shelf to mount the slides, and then add a support. This is the C channel, here's the L, and the other L is here, duplicated on this side, and that runs the full length all the way to the other side of the gear tunnel. Now weight's an important issue to talk about. I actually had this out and tested my scale, and it came out to 65 pounds, which is pretty good, considering the Rivian unit, both the slide and the mounting hardware, is a little over 100 pounds. So there's some weight savings there. So when I want to open it, simply pull on the locking mechanism, pull out, then I can grab the handle and pull straight out. Now, you can see that I can move it some, and it's still supported by the door, but it only has to be supported by the door on one side, not this side. So that's why I think it's important that I add extra measure here by adding a leg, and that's coming in soon. I'll probably make a video on that one to kind of feature that itself. But I can actually sit. I feel more comfortable sitting in the middle than I am on the edge. But once I have a leg in there, supporting my weight shouldn't have been an issue. But as you can see, if I lift it up, you can see how much flex there is. And that's due to the slides lying on the side. If I were to do this again, I'd probably put more thought into having the slides vertical, finding some that are a little bit thinner, or maybe building the slide within those rails, so it wouldn't be such an issue about height. Now, if you're curious about the height, so from the highest point of the slide to the lowest point of the gear tunnel comes out to 14 inches and an eighth, so 14 and an eighth. And that's just enough, exactly what I needed. So if I build the camp kitchen similar to the way Rivian does it, having a tabletop over here, that'll give me a table on this side of about 15 inches, give or take. That's be more than enough what I needed. If I wanted to, I can have a water container inside the camp kitchen, bolted down or strapped down with a hose coming out of it with a water pump and feeding to a faucet or sink. Now my idea for the camp kitchen is probably going to be right now out of plywood, for every 1/4 inch plywood to keep the weight down. It'll be plenty strong. I'll probably dovetail everything, color it and coat it. It'll be pretty nice. In regards to the kitchen, let me show you what I've done so far. This is on my 2009 Toyota 4Runner. This is a kitchen I built out a few years ago. Check this out. Pulls all the way out with a cutting board, somewhere for my gas stove, and storage. It all folds away, nice and easy, compact, so I can place it away. Additional storage on the bottom for a table, some supplies. Another small one here on the side, put some equipment. Can't forget that bottle opener. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe. You don't want to miss out on my future videos, especially when I build this camp kitchen and take it out in the field and test it. Until then, thanks everyone.